Welcome to the Scott Townsend Show, brought to you by Dietzo Man Productions.
Hey, this is Scott Townsend, and thanks for watching or listening to the Scott Townsend Show. Today I have with me a good friend, longtime friend. Seems like all my guests are long time.
I think best friends, but
BFFs, yeah, whatever. Is Jay Stump. Say hi, Jay.
hello, Jay. How are you?
Good. Yeah. So Jay and I were talking the other day, and I found out. I don't know how I didn't know this, but Jay's.
I can't believe you didn't know this already. I mean, that's crazy. That's
Jay's
insane.
a storm chaser.
No, I'm a storm spotter.
There's a storm.
There's two different things. Yeah, and so I can kind of tell you
what's the difference. Here, let me. I'm the one asking the questions. This is the Scott Townsend Show. So tell me, Jay, what's the difference between a storm spotter and a storm chaser?
Okay, so a storm spotter. That's what I do. I go out and I observe the situations going on. Hey, I see your cup. And I figure out what's going on with the storm. I put myself in a good place where I can view it safely. And it does involve a chase because I'm always moving. I don't stay around very long in one place because, that storm is ever moving, and sometimes it can move with furious speeds, ever moving. The storm chaser, those are the guys that actually go out and they spend weeks on the road, and they go to locations like showing up on my radar. This is Little Rock, Arkansas that's showing up, and they actually drive down there saying, okay, I know, so in Oklahoma we had storms that blew through yesterday, and then it's following down to Arkansas. So those guys probably will drive most of the evening and get down to Arkansas, rest, and get back after it the next day. Those are chasers.
So they don't if they're in Oklahoma, they don't just chase Oklahoma storms.
Correct. So I only look around my counties. So Washington County, Osage County, Nowata, and then a little bit down in Rogers and Tulsa County. Yeah. But that's about it. Only within. So I spot for Bartlesville radio, and so I only chase within my area. The only place I spot. So I do call it a chase, but I'm really truly a storm spotter.
So you've got a big storm, like we got blue skies right now. You got a storm, and so you hop in your truck.
Yep.
And you go to the storm.
I get to a location that I'm seeing on radar that's starting to develop that looks like a good opportunity to go visually inspect the storm. A lot of times when we're looking at radar will feed back a lot of information that says, hey, this looks like there may be hail that's included in this storm. This looks like there's high winds associated with it. But keep in mind, a radar, here's my trusty globe. A radar is looking at something that's like over the horizon from it. And so it's looking at a pan tilt way up in the air. So it may be looking at 1,500 feet from Tulsa to Bartlesville where we are. And so it's seeing what's up in that atmosphere at that certain level, but not on the ground. So what helps when you have a storm spotter is to go out and observe the conditions going on. Record the wind, record any type of precipitation that you might have. If it's hail up to or from a certain size up, or if it's winds at certain speeds and up.
So are you on the radio when you're spotting or?
Yes. So we'll call up the radio station. Anytime I get to a set location, I try very hard never to call if I'm driving unless I'm absolutely in a risk area. So if I'll get to a set location, I'll get spotted and tell my conditions.
How do you study? Do you have to have a certificate or a school to go to school to be a storm chaser or a storm spotter, or how did you become a storm spotter?
So really, the first place I started was with the radio station. Everybody was out, chasing the storm, and I'm like, "Hey, do y'all need me to go?" And they're like, "Yeah, if you want to go." And we just go watch the storm get hit by hail. Um, and then we'd call in and say, "Hey, this is Jay. It's raining really crazy," and be kind of goofy about it. I say goofy because that's the way it was back then, I guess.
Right.
But and then one time I got into a really particularly dangerous situation where we were spotting out in the west side of Bartlesville. I had pulled into a location where there were power lines around me. There was only a east-west road, and I'll talk about that in a minute when we talk about tornadoes and how to stay safe. But it was an east-west road, and nothing but muddy ditches all around me. So when the storm came in, it was really nerve-wracking, and the radar that I was using was just a common radar that you can get online from like channel 6. So keep in mind, channel 6 is a couple minutes old when it gets to us, and it's a couple of minutes old from the radar suite. So we were probably about 5 minutes behind that radar suite, and we had some massive winds hit us. And it got me to
You were
thinking
behind or ahead? You were ahead of the radar.
Well,
because the
so
radar hadn't caught up with you yet, right?
the radar hadn't caught up with us, correct. The radar was behind.
So what you were
And
looking at was what you were looking at was stuff that had already happened 5 minutes ago.
No, it was incoming to us, and I thought I was in a safe spot. But based on radar that was
That
old,
was based on 5 minute
5 minute
history.
old radar,
Yeah,
correct.
lag.
And so by the time it got to us, it said, "Oh, hey, there's some massive winds right here."
You're like, no kidding.
We
just
got
went
hit
through
by
it.
that. I sat there and I watched the poles move. And I thought, my gosh, if these poles fall and we're hit by electricity all around us, I'm in a really bad spot. And at that point, I said, you know what? I'm not going to let that happen again. So I did go in and start training. There's 2 networks that will do it. One is the Skywarn network, and you can find the links on the National Weather Service spotter training page. The Skywarn network is really kind of the beginning area to start learning how to do this. And I've probably spent maybe 10 hours in reading and watching training videos and training things to get my certificate. Then I also went to the National Weather Service and did the same with them. That was probably about 13, 14 hours that I did that. So in total, we're probably talking about 20, 25 hours of study to pass these 2 tests to get the certificate, to be able to use a number. If I get asked by the National Weather Service, what's my spotter number, I have to give that, which I hope they never do because I don't remember what it is. It's a long number. And I've got it stored somewhere, but I don't remember where I put it. I've never been asked.
Yeah. So how did you get out of that situation?
I just wrote it out. You know, when you're in a bad situation, you just kind of write it out, and it really depends on the situation. And so the best place to be, if you find yourself in a tornado or in an area where you have no egress, you can't go south and east, and those are the 2 ways that you can get out of a tornado. Normally, and I put that asterisk on there, they go from the southwest to the northeast. Normally, they can come south and they can go back. So the best way to go is to kind of gauge how that storm's moving and go in right angles away from it, wherever it's moving. So if it's moving south east, you go east and you go south to get away from it. If it's moving northeast, you go this way and up, and you can stay ahead of the storm that way, but eventually it's going to catch up to you. So you kind of have to watch and see. If I go north enough, I'm outside of that warned area, or that serious, rotation area, and that's what I want to avoid. But if I can't go, if I'm stuck in traffic, if I'm stuck because I've reached the end of the road, the bridge is out, the water's flooded, I have nowhere else to go. The best thing to do is get out of your car, get in a ditch in the lowest area you can. You're going to subject yourself to flying debris. You're going to subject yourself to wind, elements, all of that. But it's better than being in that car.
You'd think just the opposite, because the car could protect you. Because
Right.
you don't weigh as much as a car, so the tornado could pick you up just as well as a car.
If you get in the lowest part if you get in a low ditch, then the wind's probably going to pass over you, and you're going to get muddy as all get out. But outside of that, you're going to be safer than if you were in the car. That I always have with me when I'm out is, I'll take on my reading glasses here, is safety glasses. These are just one of my pair. I like this one because it's the amber, so I see it really well. It's really bright to me right now.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I like these, but it doesn't give me good color vision. But like yesterday when I was out, I truly need these because I went out and looked when it was really blowing wind, and I got debris in my eyes. And so, throwing these on, the nice thing about these is they're goofy looking, but they also provide a lot of protection around the eye area.
Right.
And that's very important.
Thanks for putting those on for us so that people can have a
mock me and laugh at me.
No.
Particularly you later on.
But it seems like you would have like a hard hat on or something too.
Yeah, so you can.
So what kind of tools do you guys use? I mean, what do you use out in the field? Is there anything else you use besides the safety glasses?
Oh yeah, the radar is probably the most important one that I use. But
right.
I always have a good flashlight, 2 or 3 flashlights with me, that I can see long distances, or I can pan it out and I can see a lot more, because you might go into an area where it's lost all its power, and you're the first person that gets on the scene. And so that's one of those scariest moments for me, is to get out there and have that. Let me show you one other thing first too. The other thing is I never go out without a safety vest on.
Right, especially if it's dark and there's no electricity.
This is actually a requirement for the National Weather Service. Is anytime you go out, you have to have one. You have to be wearing it, because if I get out of the car,
right,
I don't care if it's to snap a picture or to just stretch because I'm bored, I have to have that on.
Yeah, don't want to get hit by a car.
Yeah, this one is a fun little toy. This is a anemometer. Don't ask me to spell it. I'm just now getting out to where I can pronounce it without being stupid. But it tests the wind. So there's a little fan in there that blows around and will tell me what the wind is, and it also has a thermometer in it, so I can tell what the ambient temperature is. And that's so cool. The only problem with this one, and there's better ones that twist that will tell you what direction it's going and all that. I do have an anemometer on top of my truck, so it's the little whirly bird thing that looks that I have on my truck.
Right.
That I can tell what the wind speeds are. Wind speeds over 58 miles an hour is considered a severe storm by the National Weather Service.
And what did we have yesterday? 60?
60, yeah. So it was a severe storm. As it entered Bartlesville, by the time it exited Bartlesville, it had diminished some, and so they ended up dropping a little bit later on. I also use binoculars.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
And I also always have a pair of work gloves on me. Yeah. Yesterday, I helped move a tree out of the road, and I didn't want to get splinters or whatever that was in that tree all over me.
So of all the storm spotters and storm trackers, it looks just chasing, spotting, dangerous?
It's very dangerous. It can be life-threatening. There is a reason why the National Weather Service says go indoors when we have a saying that when the thunder roars, go indoors. If you can hear thunder and you're outside, you're close enough to be hit by lightning. The second, or probably the leading cause of death among any storm is flood related. Turn around, don't drown. Another little saying that we say that that even a small little bit of water can sweep a person off their feet. If you're looking for a good radar scope is what this one is called. It is a really, really powerful tool. You can see all sorts of things within the storm. I
is it on your phone?
Right now, this is on my iPad. I have one on my phone, and I have one on a computer. All the same software, but I pay a premium for that
Right.
because I use it a lot. There's a free version which has got ads on it. There's I think there's a free version. If not, it's a $10 app, which is like, wow, $10. But it's an incredible app to have. And then you can pay for a subscription, an annual subscription, or on a certain dollar amount. Or if you have multiple devices you want it on, I pay $100 a year for mine. And not that this is a commercial for radar scope, but it's a good tool. Most of us that are out there running around are using that. I can put in my transponder number, so it will follow me GPS where I'm at. So if I'm in an accident, I have a group that I'm associated with that I'll talk to, as well as the radio station. It's a group of storm spotters. And if I get in a situation where they're trying to check in to figure out where I'm at and how I'm doing, and I'm not responding, they can see where my transponder number last was, and they can call the authorities and come out and rescue me.
You remember do you remember the storm in '82 that hit the tornado that hit Bartlesville in '82?
Yep. Yeah.
I remember seeing that tornado.
I did too. I was further away, but we saw it come in, and we went out to my backyard. We're watching it, and as we were watching it, another area of rotation was above us. And my dad said, "Man, if we were in the front yard and saw that, I don't know that I would be out here looking at it." and I think that was probably the first time I really truly remember being fascinated by storms. And since then I've always been fascinated by them. And I do this out of a voluntary basis, but it's also one of those things where it feels like it's a calling to actually go out and follow these storms and go after them.
Well, Jay, we sure appreciate your service to the community and helping Bartlesville stay safe with your storm spotting and some of the storm chasing you guys do. But don't call me. I'll be inside. No, actually, a lot of times I'll go outside and watch from the front doorstep. But
it's so much better to be right there on the front doorstep of that storm.
Yeah,
it's coming in.
I can see how that would be, but anyways, well, thanks a lot for all your info. And if anybody wants any more information and wants to contact you, reach out to you on LinkedIn or?
Yeah, you can reach out to me on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Twitter. I'm at JSBirdman008. And I'm not on Facebook or Twitter very often. Personal thing, but you can reach out to me, but probably LinkedIn would be the best way to go.
Okay.
Look it up, Jay Stump.
Yeah, we'll put your contact info on. Yeah, put it down somewhere down.
Cool.
However you do that, down in the bottom here and on the description on the YouTube channel and the podcast. So anyway, we'll have a good rest of the day, Jay. Talk to you guys later, and if there's any more storm chasing or storm news we need to talk about, I'll give you a holler.
All right, sounds good, Scott. Thanks.
All right, well, for Jay Stump, this is Scott Townsend. Thanks for watching the Scott Townsend Show. Have a great day, and we'll check you later.
The Scott Townsend Show is a Dietzo Man production. For more episodes, visit the Scott Townsend Show YouTube channel, listen on Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to your favorite shows.